Kia ora, I'm David Chaston with 90 at 9, brought to you by interest.co.nz. This week at everything you need to know in 90 seconds at 9 o'clock. With news, there's more evidence we're in a high inflation period, even as the economic activity sags. Last week we noted a rise in American mortgage applications, but this week they fell back, and hard, and to their lowest level of 2023. So no light at the end of the tunnel in the US housing market yet. American retail sales grew by more than expected in January, in a sign that consumers' willingness to spend may be holding up, even rising, helped by their tight labour market and possibly by a slight easing in inflation expectations. They were up 6.4% from a year ago, the same as CPI inflation in the period. This is the first time these gains have matched inflation in 4 months. This data won't encourage the Fed to change course. And US industrial production rose, but at a disappointing rate, less than expected. It is now only 0.8% higher than a year ago, hardly a measure of strength. But it has been held up by surprising strength in business capital goods. Boardrooms are positive places, it seems, households not so much. In Canada, January housing starts sagged a little, but this is after a strong run over the past 2 years, so perhaps it should not have been a surprise it was. Certainly the overall Canadian housing market is in the doldrums, so rising new home sales can't be sustained. In China, it is emerging that Beijing has been worried about sagging demand in their economy for a few months, and President Xi has exhorted his officials to bring in more forceful measures to expand domestic spending. Also promised more favourable policies to support private and foreign investment. Details of new emphasis in December were only released overnight. In India, merchandise exports came in lower in January, but then again so did their imports, so their January trade deficit shrank. All this data was less than expected, perhaps pointing out that the global trade environment isn't a source of rising demand anymore. But India's services exports are growing, and strongly. In Australia, under fire from politicians, RBA Governor Lowe has been testifying in Canberra before politicians and said he won't be resigning. Further, he racked them up, reportedly saying there's a risk that we haven't done enough yet with interest rates. And staying in Australia, regulator ASIC is targeting predatory lending and dodgy insurance pricing as a priority. It has laid 173 criminal charges in just 6 months. The US Treasury 10-year yield starts today at 3.80% and up 5 basis points from yesterday. And the price of gold will open today at $1,838 an ounce, and that's down $11 from this time yesterday. And oil prices start today down $1.50 at just on $77.50 a barrel in the US, while international Brent price is now just under $84 a barrel. And the Kiwi dollar is down another 0.5 cent today at 62.8 US cents. Against the Australian dollar, we're down 0.75 cent to 91.1 Australian cents. Against the euro, we're softer at 58.8 euro cents. That all means our trade-weighted index starts today back down at 70.5 and down 20 basis points. Get more news affecting the economy in New Zealand from interest.co.nz. Kia ora, I'm David Chaston. That was 90 at 9, brought to you by interest.co.nz.